7 flutes, beautiful, and so he played all of them.
Yeah.
There was some guitar, there was some the the crystal bowls. Yeah, there was a lot.
You
There was
can't
this
get
one
away.
thing. It looks like a harp, but it's Chinese, and it sits flat, and they play boom, boom, boom like that. They played
Wow.
that for a while,
Strings, yeah, must have sounded so nice.
and it's a journey. We've done it a few times, and Jared, the guy who leads it, he knows exactly where to take you. So yeah, he cracked me up, and
Yeah, wow.
it was
That's
good.
great.
But that's the work I do, so I like it.
Right.
You know,
Yeah. I mean, obviously you come for this.
right,
Yeah.
exactly. There's people that come and sit with us, and they feel a little resistant, and they don't like out of after 4 hours, they're like, "Well, I didn't feel anything." Well, there was 5 grams. I took 5 grams, and I felt that. But it's like everything. You gotta
I
lean
got a
in and let go.
hilarious story I'm going to share with you about that in a moment related to this podcast. Let's say
Oh,
hello to some
okay.
folks, and then I'll tell you about
Hello, folks.
a funny story.
You know.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to Two Floridian, where we have a lounge-style conversation with people who are doing something great in Florida. Today we have Yhang Quintero. Did I pronounce your last name correctly? Probably not.
Quintero.
Quintero, yeah.
I had like 30 minutes to rehearse.
Yeah, not to mention the years I've known him. But Young started a wonderful place that we wanted to highlight called Wildcrafters. And what's really unique about it is it's the first place that I've ever seen that has alcohol-free alternatives. I've seen some similar things, but in a bar. This is no alcohol. It's only an alternative alcohol scene and a whole environment dedicated to this. They make wonderful cocktails and they have events and things going on any given night. So we thought we'd talk with Young about what made him start that up and how it's been going.
Yeah.
Thanks,
how,
Jan.
how long? How long has it? It's like it sounded like it just opened, but it's been how many? 4 years?
4 years, yeah, 4 and a little bit, some change. It's January of 2020. That's when it all started.
Wow.
I think for a lot of people, it's
Brave.
still a new idea there, right? You still have a lot of new people coming in for the first time.
We do actually. I will say a good 40% of business, of everyday business, is brand new customers, all from Jacksonville, all say, and I never heard of this. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Are they from Riverside, from this area, or no?
from everywhere.
Okay.
It might be a little bit of lack of marketing, perhaps, or maybe not so aggressive, and also some people just don't see anywhere else but what there is in front of them.
Right.
Drinkers or not drinkers. And then other people have just found resistance to the fact that you can hang out without alcohol. It's we've been told that's the only resource for anything. Any emotion you're experiencing, alcohol. I'm so happy, let's drink. Just got fired, I need a fucking drink.
Hmm.
I'm so angry, let's go drink. Or I'm stressed out, I don't know what to do, I need a drink. It's
Mhm.
literally nobody
Mhm.
thinks of chocolate or tea or
Yeah.
not even sex.
And
like
it's
water.
ironic because it's they're opposing things. So you make a good point that people look for this as if it solves these problems, even though they're looking for it with opposing issues.
Correct. It's been a thing, and a minute ago you asked me what I like to be known as, as owner or CEO or founder, and we went to on the founder side, and it's because I don't think. Let's put it this way: I was standing, minding my own business, and the information was coming down, and I happened to be in the right frequency to receive that. And so the concept of Wildcrafter is not something that I dream with or I dream on. It's not something that I always wanted to have. As a matter of fact, I sat down with you and drank a lot, many nights,
That's
and
right.
today neither one of us drink.
Right. Yeah.
I've gone through life and all of it included. I dabble with alcohol, I dabble with drugs, I dabble with relationships and messed up scenarios. But one day, I thought something had to give, and the party was part of it. But then this information came through, and it was very precise. This is what you're gonna do, and so I listened for once.
That's
Yeah.
great.
Yeah. Well, we're really glad you did because it's quite a unique place. Tell us a little bit maybe about the journey of starting up. I think all businesses have ups and downs and challenges, and things that they conquer that are unique to their journey. What did you encounter when you started Wildcrafters that might have that you think you want to share as a unique aspect of starting that type of business that hasn't been done before?
It hasn't been done, right? I mean, it hadn't been.
Well, now there is a whole industry. Actually, as a matter of fact, and I'm gonna just throw a number in there that I learned not long ago. $2.7 billion in the last 2 years. Vodka, rum, whiskey, none of them have done that. It just took off and went high up to the point that all the big players are now in the non-alcoholic game.
Right. Yeah. I meant like it.
Heineken,
Yeah.
Corona, Budweiser, Diageo, like all the big names on spirits and beers
Mm.
are now offering non-alcoholic and are promoting it and are spending a lot of money in it.
Mhm.
And that has something to be
You
to
know,
to say about the
so
industry.
and I'm grateful to see that growth, but I think what makes your place unique is that it's not that it's a place with alcohol alternatives. It is an alcohol alternative establishment. You don't serve alcohol, and you are
Correct.
a bar.
Correct. Yeah, 100%. So where to start? I think some of the challenges I've encountered in this journey has been um, the non-belief from the general public. From the minute I went to get permits to getting in touch with the landlord or even construction, the people building the bar didn't believe in me. Didn't believe this was a thing, and so they took forever to finish. I had to actually put my foot down at one point and said, if this is not ready, then I don't want it. Um, and yeah, pretty much that. It's still today. There's a lot of people that they hear about it and they're like, huh, it's less people nowadays than
Mhm.
it was before. One funny story I remember. So the project started around 2017, and it was after an ayahuasca ceremony where I was told exactly what to do. I had something was in my mind about it. I was already bouncing ideas with a couple of friends, and I took two of these friends to North Carolina. Actually, one of them, who has been in your podcast, Kyle Roberts,
Mm.
took us to a ayahuasca ceremony in 2017 in North Carolina, and it was a mind blowing experience. And the message was given
Mm.
exactly what to do. And so we came back and started looking for a place. And by doing so, the information got out. Um, the Florida Times Union hit me up. Hey, let's do a piece. We hear you doing this. This is so unique. We want to interview you. I said, okay. They did the interview, put it on the paper, actually paper, and put it online. There were 1,600 comments,
Wow.
and none of them was positive.
Wow.
Whoa.
They were all funny though.
Oh my God. Oh,
They
Did
were
you say
saying
that can be
things like,
so
that's like
discouraging.
having sex with your cousin. Like, what's the point?
Oh
That
my
no one
God.
what is it a chaser bar? Can you bring your own booze? This guy must have too much money to throw it away. Who does non-alcoholic in 5 points? And so for a minute there, I almost backed out.
Oh my
Mm.
It
God.
it got to me. I'm not gonna lie.
How could it not? I mean,
And that
Right.
geez,
was
that's.
2017, or
2017, yeah. And so
I remember even
2018,
my advice was cautious. My advice was
right,
like, be careful. That's new. I don't know how to do new things, and
right.
people don't like it.
Most people were like, "Whoa." The most encouraging things I heard was, "You have some balls."
Hmm.
I was
Yeah.
like, "Well,
That
man,
was my view. I
at
was like,
least
wow.
like
Yeah.
if I have some friends that want to hang out sometimes, maybe that will be it." Like 2019 came. I finally got this space. We're building. Now I'm stressed out because now I'm all in. I knew at the time that I had maybe 6, 7 months before I was let go from work. They were selling the business in part.
This was your work as a web designer,
I
right?
was a web designer, yeah, and so I knew February 28th was my last day in the office. So I'm building my bar, thinking, well, this better work. This is my only plan right now. And we did a couple soft openings, and obviously friends came, and it was fine. And the day of the opening, we opened at 10 a.m. until 4, and then we closed for an hour or hour and a half, and then we had a grand opening party. From 10 to 4, no one showed up.
Oh my God.
Maybe one guy actually came from the beach, and he was in the spirits business, and he wanted to know what it was. But that's it. All day, empty. And I was just in the corner. I didn't want to talk to anybody. I was in my computer doing numbers and pretending I was okay. And, it is what it is. We were ready to open, and 5 o'clock came. The party was at 6, and there's people start lining up outside. By 6 o'clock, we had a 50 people line, or maybe 30, but my capacity was 50.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, all right, well, at least people came to the party. By 9 p.m., there was 100 people in there, hoping that the fire marshal didn't come. Friends from other bars came to help behind the bar, to help at the door. There was a guy with a click thing counting, and he kept coming like, Young, we're an 80. Young, we're a 90. What do I do? They said they're your friends, and I look out, and they are my friend. I said, fuck it. Open that door. And it was packed. And from then on, for the 2 months, weekdays were decent, but weekends was packed. Enough for us to feel safe during the pandemic somewhat. And then I think the pandemic was the biggest challenge, because we were open for 2 months, and then we had to close for about 5.
Oh my God.
Yeah, right off the bat.
Yeah,
So,
you launched just before the pandemic. Wow.
I'm a little bit lost. So 2017, you got the message. You started the same year building out.
No, then it was a whole process to find a spot. I wanted to do it in Riverside. Actually, it was in 5 Point. And I said it to my business partner, Mark, at the moment. I said, if it's not 5 Points, I'm not doing it. Something told me that was the only place that would work. You're
This is
talking
true.
about
I agree.
something that is never done. At the moment, we were also the very first brick and mortar, 100% non-alcoholic bar in the country, and that got a lot of eyes on us from all around the country.
And you were the only in Jacksonville at the time.
The only in
the whole
Jacksonville.
That's what I
still
basically
well now there are a couple cava bars that are doing non-alcoholic
Right, yeah.
cocktails, but at the moment it was a bar. It was a craft cocktail bar, but without
Yeah,
booze.
it's the only bar, and yeah, so it was. You mentioned the whole country. So at the time when you
At the
opened, it was
moment,
the
yeah.
only full-on bar
There
that
were two.
doesn't serve alcohol.
There were two non-alcoholic bar pop-up bars. One in New York City that was doing pop-up parties.
Sure. Yeah, that's different.
Listen bar, and then was one in Austin, Texas.
Mm-hmm.
That same thing. They was doing different pop-ups, well known.
Yeah.
They had a following, but they didn't have a brick and mortar.
That's different from a commercial lease. When you sign a commercial lease, you pay more usually than your own rent if you have it and can afford it while paying it. And a lot of people I know didn't even have a home while they did it. So then you pay all this money for something you're committed to for at minimum 1 year. At a minimum, usually more like 5.
Right.
And it's scary. That is seriously scary. That's totally different from a pop-up. Totally
It's funny.
different.
It
from,
makes me laugh
we'll
now.
try this and see how it goes.
It makes me laugh because I think I still releasing that fear.
I can imagine.
It's
Yeah.
still stored in my body somewhat. It was intense, and keeping my face straight, smiling like, oh yeah, I got this, and inside it's like, fuck no, I don't know what I'm doing, and also, yes, I've been a drinker for a long time, or used to be, and friends with a lot of bartenders and bar owners. So my experience in bar was on this side, outside the bar, sitting drinking. I collaborated and volunteered in a lot of events, single mix or maybe beer bartending, but I'm not a bartender. Maybe now I am. I have to, claim it. But at that point, I wasn't. I had no idea what to do behind the bar. I hired one of the best bartenders in town to help me build it, to help me design the menu, to help me create the cocktails. We brought in all the good bartenders that I could, at least to try it and tell me what they thought. And so that was a big help. And I couldn't be happier and more grateful for that community, which it is actually a community of bartenders that help each other, compete against each other to get better.
A friendly competition.
Right.
Yeah.
To raise the bar, and they're all trying to be better, and they're all friends. They all drink a lot. But now that's changing. There is a lot more sober bartenders around the world than ever before. And they're getting together, and they're talking about wellness, and they're talking about addiction, and they're in the community. There are programs actually being offered among themselves to get better and to
Mm.
live that part of the job that it kind of just fell into place. You know, you didn't have to be a drunk, but if the customer is buying you drinks or if you're stressed out and you need to smile so you can keep serving, that's the only way to do. Back then, there was no breath work or meditation available to them. Now there is. And I'm happy to say that I'm getting involved into that and bringing wellness to behind the bar. There are a few friends that are doing the same, and here soon we're gonna announce something really good.
Oh, great.
Hmm.
So I thought that when I first started trying things like kava, and I also tried salvia and several herbal things that were intoxicants, I thought when I did it that because I had this drive to be intoxicated, to try to experiment with my own brain. And so I thought, well, I want to be careful here because if I start doing this, I'll probably compound the amount of things I do. Before I know it, I'll be doing all this stuff all the time. And what I found in practice was the opposite. I found that what happened was when I had alternatives to alcohol, I generally preferred them to alcohol, broke the habit of drinking, and once I broke that habit, other things that I did became very minimal. I find that I don't get intoxicated hardly at all anymore. Do you think that's a common experience? Do you see a lot of people with this, or do you think that for most people it simply replaces alcohol and is healthier?
You know, I'm a little bit in my hippie part of life, and I do believe that the plants have spirits, and when you create a relationship with that spirit, things can change. You have to be receptive to that. So, yes, in the normal talk, it could be an alternative. It could be something that you just decide you're not drinking and you go for it and you force yourself until all of a sudden you don't need the other. But I truly believe that there's a lot more to it. And same with tobacco or even opioids. You consume the plant and the plant takes over, scans your body, gets in touch with DNA. That plant is also conscious. The consciousness on that plane interacts with your own consciousness, and it gives you the information that you need. When you drink kava, and I don't know if you felt it, but this is something that I quietly sometimes look around and experience with people, or sometimes I tell them what is happening and they are aware of. Kava is nothing but love. It really is. So if we talk about the effects, it's an anti-inflammatory, it's anesthetic, and it's analgesic. So what is it doing to your body? It's chilling the fuck out of your body. Inflammation is going away. You feel a little tingle in your mouth, almost numbing.
Yeah.
Everywhere that that's touching, it's getting a little numb. Everywhere that kava is going, it's getting the same effect. But you can only perceive it here. And then, and now you have it's an analgesic,
Mm-hmm.
similar to an ibuprofen, or
Mm.
so pain kind of relieves a little bit. So now your body feels like, this is good. And then the spirit takes off, and it's nothing but love. If you drink enough kava, you start smiling, and you don't know why, and you get giggle, and you're like, oh shit, this feels good. All of a sudden, you're like dancing a little bit. We drink alcohol because of that. We're gonna get rid of inhibitions. We want to get rid of that worry in our head.
Mm.
That happens to a lot of the plants too. Some people drink chamomile at night.
Mm.
Some people smoke pot. I do. And it's a relationship that you create with those plants. There are many plants that do many great things for you. Like you said, it starts maybe because you want to be intoxicated and you want to feel some sort of way. But if you really pay attention, what you're doing is you're just leaning into the spirit of that plant, and that plant is walking you home.
Well said. Yeah, I like that.
Mm-hmm.
Terrence McKenna and Jonathan Ott spoke a lot about that, and I got to say that my experiences with some of the more colorful entheogens made that quite evident to me that that was visually laid out before me in a way that was in no uncertain terms.
Yeah, and that's exactly what it is. That indigenous tribes they've been working with these plants.
Mm.
It really really invented. It's not something that I just came up with. Like I'm gonna do a bar. The concept is just to bring something that an intergenic, you know, medicine, bringing it into mainstream for everybody to be okay. If I bring a coconut shell full of this brown thing that tastes like dirt. You know, the suburb mom won't be down. But if I make it into a very pretty, yummy drink, the suburb mom will bring her friends and they'll leave the kids with the nanny and they'll come once a week and they're like, oh my God, this is great.
And your
And they
cocktails are amazing.
and they put the one down, thank you. And so and by the way, I don't hate on alcohol. I can't really claim sobriety.
Hmm.
I I just found out this $800 a shot whiskey that they're serving at the Ritz Carlton in Amelia Island. I had to try it. I didn't pay for it, but I had to try it.
Sure.
You know, there's some wine that you can't just not drink it, and so you know, I don't claim sobriety. Like I said, cannabis is my medicine, psilocybin is my medicine, ayahuasca is my medicine, love is my medicine. You know, I do get intoxicated with all the things. It's just the mindfulness behind that and the intention behind that
Hmm.
that makes a difference. And I think that's what we promote at Wildcrafters. You know.
That's definitely been what I've been feeling more lately. For me, it happened, I think, as a response to Alexandra's tuning forks. But I found that I never said I quit anything.
Like you show.
The tuning forks.
It's an forks. That's what it is.
Yeah. um, yeah, you know, I never like I'll have a drink if I want to, but the occasion in which I want to put alcohol in my body went from being something regular and out of habituation to something that is now a ritual rather than a habit, and that is very rare for me. That I think alcohol is appropriate for what I want to do because mostly now when I think of drinking it, I think of being a little more tired. My blood sugar is going to go up and down, and I think of not that I think of the details of those things. I think of the feeling. I think of how I'm going to feel, and I'll just play that out in my mind. And I go, no, now's not the time for that.
Mm.
If I want to have a drink with somebody, I'll probably have one, and then I'm good with that, and I'll minimize the impact and enjoy the social effect of being with that person on that in that moment. But I think that's a much better way to consume things because like you mentioned, it becomes mindless. A lot of our consumption is without consideration, and life comes from life. It all has meaning and it all has value.
I tell you what, after 4 years running this bar and ups and downs and everything, I think Warcrafter obviously came as it's for everybody. You know, it's not my bar for me. Something I actually have heard of people that have never been to Warcrafter claiming Warcrafter outside Jacksonville. They go to places. Somebody is like, "Hey, I heard this place," and they're like, "Oh yeah, it's amazing. You have to go." I never been, but I've been wanting to. you
Yeah.
know. But besides all that, I think Warcrafter came to my life to be a mirror for me, and the things that I've learned there, as far as compassion with myself, it's something that I see at Wildcrafters. And like at the beginning, I didn't know what was gonna happen, and I almost gave up. And I can tell you at least 50 times in my whole life where I felt that way, and it has helped me learn and build resilience and keep on going and respect and letting go of control, which at the end of the day, I don't have any. You know, things are gonna happen. Um, Showing up for myself every day. I didn't open Warcraft for anybody, but for me.
Hmm.
And it might sound weird, but it's the truth. I didn't decorate it for anybody but for myself. And I cry when I did it, and I cry still every now and then. You know, I didn't. I don't go and taste a cocktail. And, what are people gonna like? No. Literally, if I like it, I put it in the menu. If I don't care if 100 people will like it. If I don't like it, it's not on the menu. And it might sound a little egotistical, but in my world, it's been my reflection, and it has helped me grow so much. You know, and I think that's what Wildcrafters is. It's a little mirror for you to go and see yourself and reflect and see what you like, and maybe if you look in, you like that too about yourself. And staying away from alcohol, even though I don't hate on alcohol, has helped me open up my eyes,
Mm.
because that for years was a block. Was a layer of don't deal with your shit.
Mm.
Was a
Oh yeah.
layer of you're too consumed or too tired or too dehydrated to even think about how to do better, how to just not clock in and out from work and go and party, and how to forgive myself for many mistakes. And so I make mistakes at the bar all the time, with employees, with myself, with customers, and I carry it for a little bit, and then I was like, hey, wait a minute, you're just a human, you're another human, you can make a mistake. So I think that's the real purpose of the bar. And while we're at it, it's helping other people.
Mm.
I try to bring a lot of community stuff. I don't like calling them events, they're more like gatherings.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And we do it when the bar is closed. So there is no business to be had. We started a dance church 4 months ago, and the concept came out of the need of, yeah, being reverent and get together, not necessarily to worship but to pray. And the best way we found it was through music and movement. And we do that shit when we go to the club, man. When you're moving and having fun, you're thinking the happiest thoughts, and you're thinking about the people that you really want to be dancing with, or the people that you want to be kissing, and that is a prayer. And so from that concept, we started dance church, and it's a 50-minute meditation. It's a guided meditation.
50 or
15,
15.
15-minute meditation, 10-minute movement. Kind of, it's not a yoga class, but it's a yoga based stretching. And then for 45 minutes, we dance our asses off. There's no touching, there's no talking, there's just releasing and praying while you move. And it feels so good. As weird as that sounds to many people.
Oh no, I do it every day.
And this past Sunday was our latest dance church, and we had 29 people. That's a lot, for something like that. So, and like that, many others. We do some. We close on Mondays, so we do some sound bath that are free. We just we energy exchange is what I call it. If you get up, you come, you put something in the table, we put something else in the table, and we all go home happy.
Yeah.
So it's like an energy potluck.
I like that energy potluck.
Yeah.
Energy potluck.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's really cool. You had a
So-
question?
Yeah, I had a question about the church. So, did you register as a church?
No.
Oh,
No,
you just
no,
call
it's
it. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, it's a gathering. Yeah, no, there's no.
I like that. It's a for-profit business functioning as a church, as opposed to a church functioning as a
Right.
for-profit business.
Right, right.
I told somebody the same thing when I was doing an interview the other day. I was like, basically, you could think of this similar to a charity, except we're not. We're a for-profit business.
Right, we're not. We're paying ourselves.
Yeah, except we're not. But we have the same goals. Our goals are actually for greater and public good.
There is a little bit of a trend right now where people are finding themselves, and it's beautiful. They're finding peace and breakthrough through yoga, through samba, through meditation. In my lifetime, 46 years of life, I never seen such a big and wide trend. Like a lot of people, whether or not they have any idea what this means, they're into it. And when they feel their breakthrough and they feel some sort of peace, they immediately turn around and I'm also a healer. I'm gonna heal you, and which is awesome. I mean, if anything, is making the world a better place. But I think the best way to do this is just help yourself. And it's not to be selfish or anything like that, but if you're able to smile to yourself, if you're able to be okay the way that you look, the way that you feel, of the shit that you say, of everything, it's gonna shine, and you don't have to do something to fix anybody. That will fix everything.
Yeah, you have to put your own face mask on before you can help somebody else.
Right, exactly. Just like they say in the plane.
Yeah.
And I think that's another part of Wildcrafters and what have taught me and what I think it's pushing out there. For example, when we opened Wildcrafter, we had Sonia. She owns a Folia home in San Marco. It's a plant and lifestyle store, beautiful store. Back then, she was selling plants at Ram, and so I saw her a couple of times, and I went and talked to her. I wanted to hire her as a consultant and to sell me some plants, and so she could take care of them and this and that. One thing led to another. This is before we opened the doors. One thing led to another. And one day she said, somebody asked me if I had a store. And I thought, oh, it would be great. And I said, what about if you do? So when we opened, we had 100 plants in the bar, and they were all hers, and she was selling her plants. Then later on, she opened her store, move on. Great. Two older friends just bought a trailer and were selling plants. Jen and Lauren. And when Sonia moved out, I talked to them and they brought it in. And it was the greenhouse. Months later, they opened their own cafe, bar. They also have non-alcoholic cocktails and the most beautiful space. It's right there in Brooklyn. And they sell plants. And so after that, I kept my own plants. But it's a job to keep a bunch of plants alive. And I have been doing a decent job for the last year or so, year and a half.
I'm horrible at it. So I need her. She takes care and rescues all the plants. If somebody gives me a plant, she has to rescue it like a month
Hey, you know, I need you in my life then. Well, not anymore, because now I'm bringing in yet another plant business that only does market and online sales, and now she's gonna have a showroom. And so I think I'm helping myself. I'm making my bar pretty. I'm bringing all the beautiful plants, having amazing air inside the
Right.
1,100 square feet, have 100 plants. I mean, you're not going to breathe better air than that. And then she's having an opportunity to grow her own business. And since we opened, we've been doing that with different businesses in different way. And so, again, I'm not going around trying to save anybody or any business. I'm doing it for me. But at the same time, it's trickling down to do good for the community. And I don't know, man. I can only hope for that to be a good example, I guess. If I die tomorrow, I love for people to keep doing that shit.
Yeah, I think that's really ideal. There's a new company that produces a plant that they have they own the license to it. They genetically modified a plant that glows, and it glows in the dark. The problem is they don't have placement. Either your plant person or next time when they start their own business, you can look at that if you want. Those plants look pretty cool, but they don't have anywhere to sell them, so they're having to ship each one. If they had a vendor, then they could have the plants locally and sell them locally.
That's a great idea.
What's that like neon glow?
I don't know about the genetically modified stuff, but
I'm like, why would you do that to a plant?
It helps a lot with a lot of things. It's part of research. It's part of research with things such as they can make homes that work here on Earth, but also can work in space. They grow out of mushrooms that have been modified to glow when they have a crack, and then they'll heal. So they'll alert you to any issue of what they're doing. They have their own internal monitoring systems, and they can literally grow a house inside of a form. So they make a basic 3D printed form, and then the mushrooms all sprout and spore inside it, and the form becomes a part of the rest of the house. So it's very quick.
So is it a mushroom or like a plant?
Mushrooms were the first one they modified to glow, and now they're modifying other plants to glow, which gives the point is to give farmers more indication of whether they need water, if bugs are attacking them.
Oh, the glow will tell you what they need.
Yeah.
Ask the glow.
Wow, that's like an LED plant, pretty much.
We've been really researching how the plants communicate and trying to learn better how to communicate with plants, because we found they have like full-on conversations about stuff. Like
underground, the mycelium, it's how they communicate.
Right, that's right.
Lately, that has been in my mind. Actually, I've been talking about similar conversation this past week, and it's about consciousness and how everything that is alive is conscious, right? And so,
and maybe even things that aren't.
Right. I was gonna go that way.
Level, yeah.
So in the deeper level, if you go, matter you created. That only exists because we make it there.
Right.
And if everything around us is conscious, acknowledge it just like you would a person.
That's right.
It's almost required, or else we'll be so rude. Well, they're acknowledging you too. When you're walking around Riverside, riding your bike, those trees are saying hi. Are you saying hi to them? And when you do, what's the conversation? And mentally, we always think about this communication, but there is a lot more than that. And they're telling you like, hey, the allergies are over here. There's storm, this and that. Like they are communicating. They're telling you what you need, especially these trees that have been here for hundreds of years. Being able to be in that contact and maybe hear it, through science, that they find a way for us to understand.
And making more people able to hear it.
Exactly. And helping nature to strive just like nature help us by giving us food, by giving us air. That would be the best
I agree.
way possible of living. So my mom was here for last weekend, and I was talking to the whole family, and I said, I'm going to say this right now before I even put it on paper, but when I die, I don't want to go in ashes. I don't want to go in a thing in a cemetery. I want to be compost. And then there's a lady, local, I think she's in Fernandina or in Amelia Island, that she's patenting this thing that you can be compost and put into a bag to grow mushrooms out of. And they can either be edible mushrooms, so whoever wants to eat your mushrooms, they can, or they can have the same thing to grow a tree out of.
Someone will get crazy high if they eat my mushrooms.
Bro. Or they want me to, I don't know, I will be a nuts tree so everybody can eat my nuts forever.
That's good. That's
Maybe a pecan tree or something. Yeah. Just eat my nuts. But isn't it this good though? I mean, we were supposed to be eating from the earth and walking away and shitting that shit out, and another tree will come up.
Yeah.
We don't do that. We poop in these white little things with perfect Clorox, and
I definitely see that as an issue, because we come from the earth, we go back to the earth, and we've tried to interrupt that process to our own detriment. Everything related to it is a predicament for us.
Well, hold on a second. I'm curious how she composts people.
I mean, have you talking about like safety or like smell or?
No, I'm just trying to picture this. So she's a licensed or whatever. She's allowed to do this legally. It's like a huge container. How does it? Because
there's a lot to it. You have the right questions. I mean, I haven't gone that far.
Curious. It must be pretty big, right? Because we're a big.
Human composting has been going on for a while, like legally.
Chops them and so.
Probably.
Oh my
There's other people that actually dehydrates human skin and makes it into a powder. So you die and they take the big chunks of your skin and they dehydrate it. They slice it and they dehydrate it. And then they make a powder into that. And then with that, they can add to compost, so they can add to, whatever.
I think I want to be taxidermied.
Oh my God.
Put in your living room by the speaker.
Exactly.
Or the computer. People walk in, you're like, what's up? What's up, Bill? That'll be awesome, though. Or maybe just from here and just hanging on the wall. Yeah. Just going like...
Or like in a jar, like it's being preserved, but it's not really. But it looks like it's connected to some stuff.
Yeah. Just your head.
Yeah. Futurama head jar.
If you put it in your will, it has to happen.
Yeah,
so,
that's right. By law, they got to make me into a Futurama head jar.
Who's gonna do that?
You got to pay the taxidermy people.
You got
to buy a very good creative burial plan. It's got to be really encompassing.
You're right. That's funny. I never thought of that. I don't want that.
You don't want that?
Animals freak me out though. Like the heads, like my.
You mean
when
like
people have animals?
Yeah.
They create this surreal question of why. Why? Like I'm never thrilled about having to. I wish I didn't have to kill anything to eat. I would like to be able to eat without it costing someone else's life, but.
Or if they die and I found it.
Yeah.
If it's not
That's what's great about
decomposed.
mushrooms. Mushrooms are the only thing you can eat that doesn't mind being eaten. It's like, great, I'll just make more mushrooms. Thanks. This is how I travel. I appreciate you. But everything else really complains.
Any fruits, mushroom fruits, like when you see a mushroom, that's the last it'll be of its life.
Mm-hmm.
Most of it is underground,
Yeah.
you know? And I think that's another thing Wildcrafter has shown me a lot by working with natural ingredients. It's just the thought of everything that this ingredient went through to get to my hand.
Yeah.
You know, from the planting to the growing to the harvesting to the dehydration or whatever it got to me. And we do have a lot of herbs and different things that we work with. And by going through that process and talking to people about what we do, it was almost like, wait a minute, this thing was in Bali or in Fiji or in Vanuatu
Yeah.
a month ago in the ground. That is really far.
Yeah, we were just learning a little bit about the global supply chain and how they do tuna. We were bluefin tuna,
Mm.
because when you buy tuna, they got days to get it to market. Like from swimming in the ocean to on your plate is an extremely um, controlled commodity, and it's difficult. And the people had to develop a lot of technology to be able to do it. Tuna wasn't a thing before. This guy from Pan Am, who worked for Pan Am, made a refrigeration system and was trying to find a way to use empty flight spaces when people would fly somewhere and they'd have empty seats coming back. So he figured out a way to do that and created the tuna market, because before they had the ability to fly it around, there was no tuna market.
Yeah, they were saying like,
Wow.
especially in Japan, maybe it was even beyond that. It was more like a side catch tuna, like they were catching something else,
Like
and
people
then it
ate
would
it,
be
yeah.
like, and it would be like fed to like cats. Yeah.
Wow.
And then
How long ago was this?
how long ago was
Before the
that?
70s. It was in the 70s when the guy worked for Pan Am, who
Yeah.
when he had all that Technicolor footage. You can tell when things happen in the 70s because the color is very specific.
So there was no tuna market like that before that. Wow. I thought
Yeah, and
tuna
now
was
it's like
like around
so
forever.
expensive. They were showing those where they process tuna, where the auction tuna and everything. That some single fish, but of course they're massive, they go for up to like $100,000 per fish.
Wow.
But it's also, on one hand, it's very sad the way they showed, how they kind of trapped them. But then on the other hand, they also told the story that it's been done for like 3,000 years. They said it's the same method that Venetians kind of invented, because this is where they catch it in that area.
They catch them on a migratory route in a net, and
Yeah,
then they pull
which
the
kinda,
net up, and then they
to
fish
me,
in a
yes.
smaller area. So they're shooting them basically. But
Well, they catch them in the contained area, and then a diver goes on a hunt. So it's not they invented that thing that is like,
to prevent the
which they
stress,
call
so that
humane
so it's more
death.
humane.
Yeah, it's like instant. And anyway, that part is horrible to me. Yeah, but I like that when they realized that tuna was overfished, like all the countries that are especially involved in the market that came together, how they can regulate this and prevent, the drop in numbers of tuna. Yeah, that was good. So they were able to actually bring the numbers back up, and now it's a highly regulated industry.
Wow.
And they also, I think, this is what I also liked, the way they contain the area where the diver goes for a hunt. It's only designed for adult fish, so baby tuna, they don't get trapped.
Oh, that's good. So they can keep growing
And then get
more.
then
Yeah.
get caught.
This
Like,
is what you hear
Yeah.
about when you hear about all these sustainable nets and all that. That's what they're talking about. Other fish can go through. They're this is a challenge for me. It's always been a challenge that I love animals. I love the planet, and I always kind of felt this way about plants as well. But now that I know that plants also are communicating on such a high level and functioning on such a high level, it's a real challenge that life comes from life, because I don't want to kill to survive.
Mm.
But it is in our nature. It is how we are designed, and it is a component of the world that we're in. I just me personally, I view it as our responsibility to be gardeners to the world, to try to leave more of the things than we consumed, is the best we can do within that, and to have some respect for the fact that a lot of things died for us to enjoy any day.
Right. That's
Mm.
where my mind was right now. That we all have roles, and going back to my first story, I think that one of the roles I came here to do was to receive the information to have Wildcrafter, right, and or to create Wildcrafters. Animals have their roles, plants have their roles,
Hmm.
and if you're a good steward of the land or your business or whatever you're doing, you're making sure everything is taken care of, including the animals that are going to be eaten. And so, if you eat really clean but you're not vegan, you're probably buying free range eggs and free range chicken and grass fed beef and stuff like that. Well, the people caring for those animals, they're caring for them in a good way, giving them somewhat a good life so they can provide good food for those that need it. So as long as you at least do that, if you take care of nature for nature to provide for you, it's like like feminine and masculine. If you Another conversation I had before ceremony on Monday, um, the guy leading his relationship with his wife is amazing, and he is my medicine in many ways. And we were talking, and he said to me, "He's like, man, it's simple. Let the feminine be the foundation. They're fucking strong and smart, and they will care for you. And then you bring your badass masculinity because she's taking care of you. You're gonna shine, and then it's gonna work out. You step and you're trying to be the man of the blah blah blah, and then you trip over your own bullshit. And it's so simple,
Yeah.
and most of us don't ever get it. you
Yeah.
know
I prefer to be the man when she lets me be.
exactly. And it sounds funny,
Yeah.
but it's the damn truth. And
Yeah.
we all have our roles. Tapping into what you're here to do, it's important, and at the same time, it's probably the last thing we all think of. we
Mm.
just we have an image of who we want to be and who we want others to look at us as, instead of accepting who we are and going with that and finding our role so we can just lay in there and do it.
Right.
And when you
That's right.
find that, it's like using the right tool to do the right thing. When you find the right tool, it's effortless. It works. But if you're using the wrong tool, you're not gonna get it fucking done.
Yeah.
Well, you are that tool.
And if we're concerned about the views of others, I was having this conversation as well about this challenge with a friend of mine. We were talking about Gandhi and Mother Teresa. That both of them have deplorable things in their histories, and they've also done great things in their histories. It's fascinating to me that no matter how good you are, there's something that's wrong, and people who try to be liked by everybody don't really get to live. In reality, you've got to pick your battles, choose what you're gonna be about in your life, stand on your ground for those
Mm.
principles, and everyone's not gonna like it, and it's gonna have challenges, but those challenges will define you.
Right. You know, this guy lately it's like around me, everybody, right? So Cyrus, the guy with the singing bowls, he said something the other day that got stuck in my head. And he said, everybody can sing if you know your tone. If you know where your tone is, you're gonna sound good on that. But if you try to hit another note that you're not capable to, you're not gonna sound good.
Mm-hmm.
Now there is some control or breathing and this and that. But that got me thinking about the same. It's like, if I find what I'm good at,
Mm.
I don't need to put much effort. And I'm gonna look good. I'm gonna do it right. But it's a matter of accepting. And acceptance it's a hard one.
Yeah, I think there's
Yeah,
I
my
forgot
singing voice is rap.
I forgot who said this, but there's a saying that our suffering comes from the lies that we're telling ourselves.
Mm,
And then again, like living in that lie that you're supposed to be something that you yourself, well, not necessarily a lie, but that image, and you're trying to fit in. But it's like your mind created that, and human mind, conscious mind is quite limited. You know,
mm,
so you kind of put in yourself in a rigid box that you might not even be cut for. And suffering comes from that, or whatever the conceptions
Delusion.
you have about yourself or the world, that's like, and you're so inflexible and so closed in your vision that, again, you created something, a mental construct, and you're trying to live up to this, and that just creates suffering. Like you said, just, change your perspective, take a stance of an observer, notice what is going on, and kind of plug yourself into the flow of life. And then, again, like you said, things, when you're flowing, they just come to you. Yeah, it becomes effortless. Yeah.
And Rosencrantz and Guildenstern are dead. They reference Hamlet at one point and refer to people in the castle, all the kings and queens and all the magistrates. They refer to them as living a grotesque, jumping up at portraits of themselves.
Well, I mean, there are all kinds of it. Could be even like not necessarily something so selfish that you're supposed to be. It again is just like how truthful it is to your nature, right? But again, we're so outwardly oriented, and it's supported and stimulated and cultivated by our culture to be so outwardly, externally oriented versus looking inwardly. And it's hard, it's hard. We're all like outside.
We've
We
been
have no
told
time to be here.
we've been told to follow,
All
to
that.
follow, and to fit in,
And we've been kept busy, so we
with-
don't pay attention
right,
when we're not.
exactly. And so when anything shows up that is not within those lines, you're like, the fuck,
Yeah.
that's not it, and that goes with, again, that goes with Wildcrafters, that goes with most people careers, relationships, houses, debt. It goes with everything. um the yogis talk about the kleshas,
Mm-hmm.
which are the five causes of all suffering,
Mm-hmm.
and attachment is one of them, and we're attached to even our fucking beliefs. If you think about it, and if I believe that Democrats should be in power, I'm gonna fucking fight you for that. Like, people in general, we are conditioned to that.
Mm.
Clinging to life, like nobody wants to die, even though every day we're dying.
Yeah.
It's the funniest thing ever. My shaman sings a song after ceremony. He call it the Laughing Buddha, and in the song he says, "Why is Buddha laughing? Because life is a joke. You're born, you live, and you die." And he gets everybody laughing after 5 hours of ayahuasca, and it's true, you know. And what's the delusion? Thinking that
Mm-hmm.
this is who am I supposed to be,
Right.
or just ignorance, just not wanted to learn the truth of whatever is in front of you.
And we're so easily controlled by fear, even though fear never prevented one death, but it prevented plenty of lives.
Right, exactly. And so on and so forth. So, the information is out there. There is ancient information out there that talks about plant medicine, talks about community, talks about believing, talks about the feminine being, the king, the queen. The information is out there. We've been put in this line that we follow. And so, going back, we believe that we need alcohol for everything we feel. We believe we can speak our truth. We believe we can dress on this thing that we have hidden in the closet that we bought 5 years ago, and we really love it, but what's people gonna think?
5 years ago.
So
Do you have a thing in your closet that you bought 5 years ago?
no, because
It's a
I
very
gave that up.
Yeah.
It's a very specific example.
Something
I just throw numbers
Something
out
from the
there.
past.
But I used to, though. I used to buy cool shit and be like, "This is awesome," and never wear it because I thought I wasn't gonna fit in if I wear it.
I used to always buy things thinking that I would wear them because they seemed cool, and I wanted to have like what I thought was like a variety of clothes that would look correct for me. And then eventually I just accepted I don't care about that and bought all the same clothes, and I've never been happier. I looked as like a cartoon character, like every day the same, except for special events with my wife, because for her I like to wear something a little different to identify that we're doing something special.
Right.
But that's it.
That's great, man. I mean, some of the greatest minds, if you think about it, were like that. Steve Jobs was like all black all the time,
Yeah.
and it's easy. You know, leave that energy for something else.
That's right. Whatever you're not doing, you'll fill. Nature hates a vacuum. So whatever void you create by taking something out of your life, something else is coming, and it's a great effect. It's really an awesome way to. The most powerful control I've ever had over my life came from the use of that axiom, that nature abhors a vacuum. So if somebody is not, let's say their vibe isn't right for what I'm doing, or a partner isn't right, don't be afraid to change it. It's okay not to do things. And when you don't do things and something else fills that space, it's often, I would refer to it as a better evolution of the environment for your character, usually.
This is true.
Well,
Go ahead.
well, oh, sorry. No, I was just also want to say like it's hard to fit something new in if you don't have space.
That too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, right. Like, yeah, it's like if you not happy in a relationship, you're not gonna be able to find a better relationship because you're already in the relationship. If, for example, or you want a new couch, you gotta get rid of the old one first, right? So like, or you want a new idea, gotta kind of get rid of old ones.
Yeah.
Sit in the emptiness for a second and
Yeah, the ability to move on, but and not move on being upset, not moving on in a reactionary way, but when something is over, to just move on.
Beam, 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 beam. Another theme lately, and this made me cry actually, and it's understanding that in relationships, there's not necessarily like a bad breakup. I like to believe they're completion, they're complete,
Yeah.
and they didn't fire me. Maybe they did, or maybe they let me go, but my timing there was completed. This relationship did what it needed to do, and now it's done.
If
It's
I
like
know
when
what
you're
I need to do,
cooking, you know that your cooking is done. You need to stop it before it's over, and that has changed so much perspective, even in past relationship, that it made me cry. And this happened in the last week. After meditation, the thought came of that, and how good things have happened after. Not necessarily like, oh, this opened a new door or anything like that, but just actually gaining everything that I needed to gain from that, and not just missing it for what it could have been, or I want it back, or why did this happen. It's like, no, it was fucking awesome for the time it was.
Right.
And it wasn't for the time that it wasn't, but I also gained something from it. And it was complete. You know, it was a cycle that needed completion. And it feels so good.
Yeah.
And
I only
it's all
regret
perspective.
I only regret when I didn't do my part right. Which happened one time in my case, and so I regret that, and I make a point. I don't beat myself up over it, but I do think I'm not going to do that again. I need to make sure I always put my all into everything, and never go in halfway on something when somebody else is going all the way. And so I'd rather, if anything, I'd be the one who went all the way. The other person can go halfway if they want. I got it coming.
Right. Well, you know, I was talking to my kid. He just got here on Monday, and Tuesday we were like already talking deep shit. And one thing I learned before he was born, and it was in my face, is like every time I judge something out loud, like I put judgment on anything, almost immediately it comes back to my face. Like either I do it or I catch myself in that situation. I'm like, and something as silly as getting from somebody in traffic, or you know, or something like that, or like this asshole, and then 2 minutes later I'm doing it. I'm like, oh shit, I'm the asshole.
I'm the asshole now.
You know, and so that keeps me in check daily, to not be judged, to not be quick to judge, because I know I'm gonna do it.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I mean, especially in traffic. That's a good exercise for me, is to try to stay zen in traffic, keep my peace.
You know, it's like you're gonna get there when you need to get there.
And nobody knows except you. I'm in this bubble of a car, just fuming.
Right. Yeah, road rage, man. I can't say I haven't felt it, you know. But yeah, after a while, you just laugh. You're like, all right, what did I do?
Yeah.
If you're able to,
I do view.
I hope everybody gets able to chill about it.
Yeah.
That's a good metric for one's own internal progress. When I'm by myself in the car, how well do I do?
Right. That should be a question for mental health professionals. Like,
Yeah.
how do you do when you're by yourself in a car? Let's start there.
Yeah.
Let's see the level of your awareness.
If we recorded you in a car, would it A, break the microphone?
Right.
B, pick up nothing because you failed to speak?
Yeah, be censored in all media.
Yeah.
See.
Or do you invent curse words that have never before been made?
Right.
I got my own curse words. Fergity McTwerkburgers is my recent one I've been going on. I'll get really mad and just start making up curse words.
That's actually a good way for, like, if you're around kids. I never thought of that.
Yeah.
Thank you. I never thought of making my own curse word. That's a genius idea.
Yeah, I love it because I'm
Shit,
usually
you-
like live streaming, and a lot of times there's kids around me, and I try
I
not
said
to.
the F word too much.
Yeah, me too.
And I
Yeah.
catch myself saying it every single. I'm conscious about it, but it doesn't mean I'm doing better or worse.
Yeah.
I just try not to judge myself either. But yeah, when there are kids around, I'm like, oh, sorry.
But I know it's a matter of the penalty because I
Right.
try not to say the F word, but I successfully don't say the N word. so I got that covered.
Right, good.
So it's definitely,
yeah,
you know,
that
there's
doesn't
definitely
even
a degree
exist.
of response.
That's true. Oh, so it's doable.
It's doable, yeah.
It's doable.
It's possible.
Yeah, you know, talking about that. What was the word you just used? The penalty. It resonated with reward, and one thing I've been contemplating a lot. It's reward. So, I mean, it's gonna be public, but I'm gonna say it. Lately, I've been dealing with not super positive thoughts in which, in normal words, I feel used, and it's not necessarily happened, but it's triggering that feeling in me, and the reason is it's I by since I was born, I'm a person that creates community. I like to. When we met, I was out in every event and everything, making friends, helping out. I think I grew out of that, and I don't need that validation, and I don't need to be everywhere. And I'm here with myself, and I'm actually starting to like myself for once in 40 something years, which is huge. And we can talk about that in some point. But
We should have a whole podcast on that.
and bro, the last 3 years for me has been nothing but that, and retracting myself from the person who I wanted to be and I wanted to be known as, to actually understanding who I am and liking myself. I didn't know I hated myself, but I did. Even when you made me, I was hating myself. But anyways, the thought and what I'm contemplating is that this feeling of feeling used because of Wildcrafter. People comes to the place. How do you create this? You great. All that you do, let me be your friends. Let me take all your friends. Let me create this thing with your friends. Let me start a business that I'm gonna use all your friends to give me money. But that's not bad. If you create communities for that community to be a community, and it's like having a baby and try to control it. You can't. At one point, it's gonna grow and it's gonna be an adult. You started like that. You started like that. I started like that.
Opportunism, I think, is the primary driving force of all social engagement.
Exactly. See, and that was perfectly said. But that doesn't mean it doesn't create that doesn't trigger that feeling. And
Yeah,
so
that's
the
right.
contemplation that I've been on, and this is after hours and hours of sitting in with this thought, is that it's a want. And I would like for the reward of anything that I do to be what I do. So if I'm of service, what I'm getting back is to be of service. If I'm gonna love you, what I'm gonna get it back is that I'm gonna love you. I don't need love back.
That's right.
And I say this and I repeat this and I meditate on this, but it's fucking hard to internalize it.
It is hard. I still struggle with it, and it is also something I've been on my entire life. I started from a different place than from where you started from, but it is still a constant struggle that I have also as a business owner. People come to me. The most common interaction I have is somebody asking me for something almost every time. When my phone rings, that's what it is for sure. Somebody, unless it's a number that's logged in my phone, I can guarantee they're asking for something. And if it's a number logged in my phone, still probably.
Yeah.
And that, for me, it's part of why, not yet, but in another 5 years or so, I plan to start writing a book that I planned when I was a teenager called No Good Deed. Follows the principle that no good deed goes unpunished. this saying, but the idea is that we don't do good for any reward. That in fact we do good specifically for the opposite, for it to really be good and to have real value within us. We do it simply because we can, and that's what strengthens us. The same as when I go work out at the gym and I'm pushing that weight. I could be digging up weeds in my yard with that same energy and accomplishing something, but it doesn't matter. I don't need to try to optimize my own output of each thing I'm pushing. I just need to push because I can. And if I don't, I won't be able to. So I need to keep doing it like an exercise.
Mm.
And this is how it's been for me with people for quite some time. It's an exercise dealing with people.
It is a practice, man, an exercise. Everything, man. It comes down to everything being a practice. And my, I talk to my kid a lot about that. It's like when you want to be really good at something, just do it a lot.
Yeah.
You know, whether it's playing sports or talking in public or whatever, just do it a lot. The conversation with him started uh, with girls.
Mhm.
And I'm trying to tell him like, man, it's okay to get rejected. The more you get rejected, the better you'll be at it. The less fear you'll have to approach somebody, and the better your odds to get the high prize.
Mm-hmm.
And he didn't get it, and so I started going to like video games, and we were talking about this when he was like 11, 12, and said if you're playing a video game and you can't complete a level, what do? You quit? You go in high? No, you put that shit back on until you get it, and when you got it, you high five and go to the next one. It's the same thing with a language. It's the same thing with interaction with a girlfriend, with all of it. Just, defeat is not that you're down. Defeat is like, okay, you need to practice to be better. Put in some time. That's all. And so, yeah, I guess that's the practice. And I'm speaking about this while I still not 100% submerged in it. But I know my goal is that a reward for everything will be the everything. It won't be something that I'm getting back.
Yeah.
And so we'll see.
Well, I appreciate
We'll
your,
talk
your
again.
humility on that
Yeah.
process. I think that might be a point to, we might have to draw a line based on time. Is that what you're about to say?
Yeah, but I also wanted to. I know you kind of planted excitement idea that something is coming up for the community, but anything that is official can be
No.
shared.
Yeah, before we.
No.
It's all secret.
Nothing.
Young does the
we're
podcast
still
and plugs
working.
nothing.
That's right.
There's nothing being
Any
plugged.
other things
Just
that you
check
wanna
out what
share
he's been
before we
doing.
check
Check
out?
out what he check out Wildcrafters and what
Yeah,
he's been doing.
come to our crafter and have fun. We check out the Instagram.
Mhm.
Everything gets posted there. Yeah, just do good
Yeah.
things. There is
If
for
you want to
men.
meet me up at Wildcrafters, send me a message. I'm willing to meet any of our friends up there. Anybody from the podcast wants to meet up there, we can meet up at Wildcrafters.
Thank you. There are some. So I've been big on men work, and for us men to stop our bullshit. We have a lot of that. There's time to talk about cars and football and bullshit, but getting together and allowing ourselves to be vulnerable and to build some resilience together as men and understand that it's okay to cry and it's okay to be soft and it's okay to not have all your shit together while you're still working on getting your shit together. It's important for men, and that work hasn't been done, at least not publicly, and now it is. It's also part of that trend, and I love it. Um, 2 years before the pandemic, I was hosting men circles at the house, and it was about 14 of us, and it was amazing, and we did a lot of good, important work together. The oldest was in mid 60s, and the youngest was 19, so it was a pretty good group. And now Kyle again and Alex Hayward, they started a men's group in Riverside. Tomorrow there's a gathering on Thursday. It's every other Thursday, I believe, and it's really good. Um, putting the cards on the table and yeah, vulnerability is something that especially men hide from. Women can go to the bathroom at the restaurant and fucking get real quick and cry real quick and come back and eat dinner and nothing happened. We keep the bullshit tight. We don't express what we feel. We feel like if we have to communicate our feelings, we're complaining, so we don't. And we need to teach our young men that that's not it. I wish I had a mentor when I was in my late teens or in my early 20s to say, hey, it's okay to cry. And it's okay to fuck up. I was trying to not fuck up, and if I fuck up, I hide it. And that only brought me more fuck ups. So Yeah. That's one thing. If I have to plug it, go to my brother's circle. You might see me there. Wildcrafter will be alive. I think at this point, Wildcrafter is its own thing.
It took me 5 years to believe anyone would still keep calling the phone. Now we've been 10 years in, but it took a good solid 5 years of running the business. Every day I thought, what if people just stop calling?
Yeah.
Like, oh, what am I gonna do?
Yeah, and I mean, don't get me wrong. That doubt every now and then comes in, but I believe that Wildcrafter it's its own thing.
Yeah.
Again, not that I'm wishing for that, but I think I can go away tomorrow and Wildcrafter will continue to be there, and I think the legacy is love. I think it's a place where you feel really good.
I would agree 100%.
It's not, you don't go there for the drinks. You go there because of it. I
Yeah.
think. Yeah.
Well, thank you for sharing that, and thank you for sharing Wildcrafters with us. But also, thank you for sharing your story and this vulnerability of the challenges that you encountered, the challenges that you've endured. It's been, I think, a great podcast that we've been able to share this and have this as a recording so that others can be encouraged by it, so others can find locations and go to places, Wildcrafters, and also where would they go for the meeting that you're the with
The
Kyle
men's
and
circle.
the men's circle?
The men's circle is at the portal. It's in 5 Points.
At
It's
the
the Midnight Zone portal. So it's on
Okay.
Lomax and Oak,
Okay.
right in that corner. It's a bunch
Is
of
it
graffitis
Oak or
outside.
Park? I think it's
Oak.
Park.
No, it's
Oak?
Oak.
It's
Yeah,
around
yeah.
the corner. It's not the Midnight Sun where the big,
No, I know where it is.
Right.
I thought it was
That's
different
Post
intersection.
and then Oak.
it's
yeah.
the one with the painted walls, right? Where
Right.
Kyle does his
Acupuncture.
Mhm.
There's like hand readers and card readers and body workers.
You guys will
Um,
see it if you're pulling up and looking for it. It's at 5 Points with the painted raven on the side of the building.
Yeah, and on Instagram is the path of the brotherhood, or something like that.
Okay.
I can send it to you if you want to put
I'll
it
add
up
it as a
there.
link.
Yeah.
We'll put it down here. So,
I think that's important. Not to say that female work is not important, but it's available. It's like I said, women are open, and that's what they should be in charge. We're the ones that are struggling the most, and I think we're in a very important pivotal time in life, and everything is shifting. The earth is shifting, the plants are shifting, the animals are shifting, we are shifting, and we have to be aware of that, and we have to be fit for it. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, and thank you guys for joining us today. I'm gonna go ahead and turn off the podcast, but check us out next week, 10:30. Oh, I'm sorry, actually backing up.
Yeah.
We're gonna be going on vacation, so we'll be gone for how long? I don't know the calendar.
I think like a month. So
Like a
it will
month,
be And
So watch this podcast again and again.
That's right. I'm gonna edit it so I look a little skinner.
Thanks for coming by. We'll resume in a month. We've got over 30 great shows with people who influenced Florida. Check out our podcasts, and if you have any comments, let us know. We'll prep for the next time when we come back in September for the next season.
All right.
Thanks.